This is how to wire a cooker, the full circuit, end to end. A dedicated breaker in the consumer unit. The right cable. A cooker control switch on the wall. The connection plate. And the cooker's own terminal block. One dedicated circuit, one big load. Let me show you every part, then draw it live. So why does a cooker get a circuit all to itself? Because it is one of the hungriest things in the house. A 4-plate hob and an oven together can pull well over 30 amps. Far more than a ring of sockets is built to carry. So a cooker never shares. It gets its own cable straight from its own breaker in the consumer unit all the way to the appliance. Nothing else hangs off it. That is the whole shape of the job. A dedicated breaker, a dedicated cable, a way to switch it off safely on the wall, and a solid connection into the cooker. Get those 4 right, and the rest is detail. One quick note before we go on. Everything I draw here is in a free browser editor. No install, no sign up. It is at CircuitDiagramMaker.app, and the link is in the description. Open it and draw along. Start at the consumer unit, because the breaker sets everything else. A cooker sits on its own dedicated breaker, most commonly a 32 amp, sometimes a 40 amp for a bigger range. That breaker does 2 jobs. It protects the cable from overheating, and it is the point where the whole circuit is isolated when you work on it. Here is the part people get wrong. The breaker is sized to protect the cable, not to match the cooker's full nameplate. A 32 amp breaker on a 32 amp cooker circuit is completely normal, and in a minute I will show you exactly why that is safe, even for a cooker whose full rating looks bigger. So, one dedicated breaker, 32 amps as the usual default, 40 for a heavy range. Next, the cable, and it has to match that breaker. For a 32 amp cooker circuit, that is 6 millimeters squared cable. Step up to a 40 amp breaker for a big range, and you move to 10 millimeters squared. Bigger current, bigger copper. 3 conductors run the whole way. Live, usually brown. Neutral, blue. And earth, green and yellow. The live and neutral carry the load. The earth is there for safety, and it never gets skipped. Undersized cable on a big breaker is the classic mistake, and a dangerous one. The breaker would let too much current flow before it ever tripped, and the cable would cook inside the wall. Match the cable to the breaker every time. Now the part you actually see on the wall, the cooker control switch. This is a big double pole isolator, usually rated 45 amps. Double pole means it breaks both the live and the neutral at once, so when it is off, the cooker is truly dead, not just switched at the live. It sits on the wall near the cooker, within easy reach. Flick it off, and you can work on the appliance safely without a trip to the consumer unit. Many of these switches also have a 13 amp socket built into the plate, handy for a kettle on the worktop. Just know that socket is a separate little circuit inside the switch. It does not feed the cooker. The cooker feed passes straight through the big double pole side. So the cable comes in from the breaker, lands on the switch, and the switch decides whether the cooker sees power. From the switch, the cable runs down to the cooker connection unit, a plain outlet plate low on the wall behind the appliance. The cable from the switch lands on the top of this plate. A second cable, the cooker's own tail, comes out the bottom and runs to the appliance. The plate is just a tidy, safe junction between the fixed wiring and the cooker. Then, inside the cooker itself, that tail lands on the terminal block. 3 terminals, live, neutral, and earth. Brown to live, blue to neutral, green and yellow to earth. Tighten them down hard. A loose terminal on this much current gets hot. One thing on bigger cookers. The terminal block often has a metal link, a bridge, across the live side, so a single incoming live feeds both the hob and the oven inside the appliance. If yours has that bridge fitted from the factory, leave it. Your one live conductor lands on the block, and the bridge splits it internally. Earth always gets its own dedicated terminal. Now the question that trips everyone up. How can a 32 amp breaker feed a cooker whose plates and oven add up to more than 32 amps? The answer is diversity. In the real world, you never run every element flat out at the same time. The oven cycles on and off with its thermostat. You rarely have all 4 hob rings on full while the grill and oven roar away together. So the actual sustained current is a fraction of the theoretical maximum. Wiring rules put a number on that. A common rule takes the first 10 amps of the cooker's rating in full, then only a percentage, around 30%, of the rest, and add a few amps if there is a socket on the switch. Run a big cooker through that sum, and it lands comfortably under 32 amps. That is why one dedicated 32-amp circuit legitimately runs a hob and an oven together. Diversity is not a shortcut. It is the honest, tested reason the circuit is sized the way it is. Two things before we build: earthing and staying alive. Earthing runs the whole length of this circuit. Earth from the consumer unit, through the cable, through the switch, to the connection plate, and onto the cooker's earth terminal. One continuous path, never broken, on a metal appliance carrying this much current. That earth is what keeps the case safe to touch if a fault ever occurs. And the safety word: this is a high current circuit on mains voltage. Isolate at the cooker switch and at the consumer unit. Prove it is dead before you touch conductor. Use the correct cable and the correct breaker for the rating. And if you're not sure, this is a job for a qualified electrician. Now let us lay one out from scratch. Blank canvas. I search the symbol library and tap parts onto the grid. A breaker for the dedicated cooker circuit. A switch standing in for the cooker control switch. A load standing in for the cooker itself. And a ground for the earth. These come from the free do-it-yourself pack the guest editor gives you, enough to lay out the idea and share it. Then the wires. Press W, click one pin, click the next, and the wire snaps in with square corners. Move apart, and every wire follows. And here is something a plain drawing tool cannot do. Simulate it. There's a genuine SPICE engine inside the page. Hit Simulate, choose the DC operating point, and run it. Live voltages and currents land right on the wires. If a connection were wrong, the numbers would tell you before a single cable got pulled. That is a check no paper drawing can give you. When the drawing is done, it has to leave the screen. One click opens the export menu. PNG is free, good enough to drop into a job sheet or a message to whoever is doing the install. Vector